Today is the day we're going to put it all together. So get ready for a bit of a wild ride. It's perhaps slightly less structured than some of the other classes, but I think it'll be in some ways the most interesting of all.
Right.
The task we have set out for us from the beginning is to be able to write a song. And we've been talking about the various elements of that. We started with lyrics, and then we talked about melody, and then we talked about harmony, and then we talked about rhythm. And each of those is an integral part of a song. To some extent, you have to be able to master all of them, but also put them together. And with attention to the kind of song you're writing, what the subject of it is, what the cultural background of it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not, songs come in all different types and sizes, from classical leader to hip hop to everything in between. And I'm not even sure if those are the extremes. So knowing the language you're writing in is just as important as knowing how to put chords together. I'm going to propose we do, after talking about that a little bit, is to start songs from 4 different approaches. One is starting with some lyrics, and then we're going to start with a little bit of melody, and then we're going to start with a little bit of harmony, and then we're going to start with the rhythm. And each of those is a place you can start from to write a song. Let's have a look first at some lyrics. There are a multiplicity of different lyrical forms, and we talked about rhyming, and that's one of the most essential ingredients to many different songs. Although there are songs that don't rhyme, I would say 95% of them do. So I would like somebody to suggest 3 words that we're going to write down and put together into a line of lyrics. And they don't have to be connected. They can be just bizarre if you want, or they can be sweet, or they can be related to Valentine. And I'm going to place one limitation. One of the words is going to be the word "you." And now I am open to other suggestions for words.
You're on the road.
Well, that's 4 words. I'll take road. Okay, so we have you, road. One more word.
Long.
Long. You, road, long. Okay, well, okay, so just looking at those words, that already suggests a theme for the song. That is to say, what the song is about. And it's kind of remarkable that it does that, right? And there are a lot of songs about being on the road for a long time, including that Cat Stevens song, On the Road to Find Out. But there's also, Paul McCartney's The Long and Winding Road, and a kabillion others. So let's just take those words and fashion them into a line from a song. In order to do that, they got to have 2 other things going along. They have to have a melody and they have to have a rhythm. So you, road, and long don't really have much of a rhythm. So let's give them some kind of a rhythm. And you can do that with some other words. Like, would it make sense to you to put the words road and long together, as in long road? Long road. Okay. And now you, let's put it before long road. And now if we can sing long road, or we can sing long road, or long road. Of those, which do you like?
The last one.
The last one, long road. And would you like to start the line with the first word, you, or would you like it to come after the first beat, as in you, long road, or you, long road?
No, the beat first.
Oh yeah, the word you first. Okay, so you, long road.
No, I meant like a gap. What do you call that?
I see the gap.
Beat
Okay,
first. Yeah.
The beat first.
So one, you,
Right.
You, long road. One, you, long road, long road. Which do you like better? So you like one, you, or 3, long road, or one, you, long road, 3, that's right, or you, long road. What would make sense between you and long road?
You're on a long road.
You're on a long road. That's a good, simple one. But I'll go for other suggestions too. Fine. Okay. So hearing no other suggestions.
You're on the road. Yeah, on the.
You're okay. So we're gonna say you're on a long road. You're on a long road, and we're trying to. That means that we're speaking to somebody else about something that they're going through, and we're saying this is going to take a while, right? Because you're on a long road is a metaphor, and if we're talking about something happening in if we are counting to 4, I guess I just arbitrarily decided that, then you're on a long road. And the next line is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have the choice of rhyming it right away, something rhyming with road, or putting a line in between, in which case we would have an A, B, A, B, right? As in, you're on a long road, blah, 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 da, 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 ode, blah, 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 blah. That would be your typical ABAB, right?
How about searching? Is that too long?
So you're on a long road searching. Yeah. My one caveat about that is searching is a hard word to rhyme. Like the words for searching are like lurching.
But we don't have to
besmirching.
rhyme it if it's the second line.
Well, you would, because if you're having an ABAB, then the 2 A's rhyme and then the two B's rhyme. You wouldn't
Right.
want a 4-line verse where the first and third lines rhyme, but the second and fourth don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, searching, besmirching,
Lurching.
lurching. Maybe since we said searching, maybe we could say something else.
Yeah, let's
Searching, not finding. Yeah, searching, not finding.
find. Yeah, that's a good one. Not finding. Yeah.
Okay. And now, what rhymes with road?
Abode.
Abode.
A load. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Load. Yeah, load gets rhymed with road quite a lot. That's approaching cliche.
Yeah.
Abode is interesting. But you
Abode.
remember that Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young? You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, right? And so code is being used, but I mean, doesn't mean we can't use it. There's a node and
road, node, code.
So let's go with can you think of any other words? Searching, not finding. Does that suggest anything?
Well, you want to go back to road again?
No, you wouldn't use the same word twice. That's not a rhyme. Strode.
Nah.
Right. And maybe that's why they use load so much. Because it's easier to say something like carrying a load or picking up your load or
Code.
Showed.
Showed. That's a good one. Yeah. Showed.
How about, and you're on a long road searching, not finding. Glowed. Yes. And so what glows usually? Tell me about something that glows.
Stars.
A star. How about the star that glowed?
Star that glowed. Yeah, okay.
Lamplight.
The lamp that glowed.
Lamplight.
But presuming then this person is in the dark. So now here's a thing that we can take what we have so far and make it the first half of a verse. If we do as Jane suggested before, no, I forget who it was. Oh, it was Baruch suggested before. We don't rhyme B, but instead we have A, B, A, C, and then D, E, D, C, right? So that we have an 8-line verse and the last line rhymes with the middle line. And that's a complex little structure you got there. So you're on a long road, searching, not finding, star that glowed. How about, I don't know.
Shining.
That star.
Shining. No, that's
Shining. Yeah, rhymes with finding, sort of.
Shining does not rhyme with finding.
But sort of.
Maybe seeking. Maybe seeking. That's from Liliana. But seeking is kind of the same as searching. Feels like we've already covered the searching bit. But what about the star? If you're not finding the star, why not? Is it hidden?
Hiding.
Hiding from what? Hiding from view. So you're on a long road, searching, not finding. The star that glowed, hiding. This is already telling something that you know about this person's history, right? Here's somebody who was drawn into the journey by the whole notion of looking for something. And since then, they've been traveling and trying to find this thing, and they haven't found it yet. And I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Yeah.
You too.
Okay, so what do we have to say to this person? It seems to me like you can either say, this is why you're not finding it, or this is how you can find it. Here are places you might look, right? So here's the interesting thing. We started out with 3 words. you, road, and long, right? And already by the attempt to put these words together in some kind of form that has a rhythm, we find ourselves telling a story. At this point, I want to pause and say, all right, before we decide, what's going to happen in the rest of the song, what it's going to be about, what kind of melody would this have? So we have a rhythm for it. You're on a long road. Now listen to the way I say that. You're on a long road. Already I'm using some different pitches for that, right? Da 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 dum da 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 dum da. You're on a long road. So what I'm doing is trying to take the natural melody of the sentence and figure out what that would sound like as a pure melody. You're on a long road.
Is that almost like the melody of Hey Jude? Like na 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 na, like it's like na na na.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad. But you know what? That's another example. As in, don't make it bad, right? Don't make it bad. Yeah, don't make it bad. They took exactly that phrase and did exactly the same process with it. This is how you say it. That's the music of the line. So let's turn that into a melody. And that's why it works for people, right? Okay, so you're on, let me see. I'm gonna write that down. You're on a long road. And let's just put the words in while we're at it. You want it to travel somewhere else, to end up somewhere else, so that when you go back to the third line, you're not going to say, oh well, I'm tempted to just repeat that again, because it'll just sound like and then somebody will go, I want to listen to something different. So let's take that second line somewhere else. So blah, 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 searching, not finding. How about, now let's go back to saying it, like searching, not finding. Searching, not finding. Searching, not finding. You're on a long road. Searching, not finding. And then we have the star that glowed. Now there's an interesting difference between you're on a long road and the star that glowed. Can anyone tell me about what they think that might be?
There's less beats in the words.
Exactly. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? So when we get to, well, on the first line, we have you're on the long road. So the emphasis on the word long road, right? And then when you say the star that glowed, suddenly the word that came after the beat before is now on the beat. And that's an interesting variation. And people do that a lot in song, just to kind of mix it up. They can still hear the rhyme, but it doesn't occupy exactly the same rhythmic place. Now, what I naturally did, you'll notice, is I adopted the same melodic shape for the third line that I did for the first line. But it doesn't have to be that way. The first line was, you're on a long road, right? Searching, not finding. And then I sang, the star that glowed, because that has the same notes as you're on a long, right? But it doesn't have to be. It could be something in a completely different key for all that matter. But, there's generally got to be some good reason for that. Would anyone like to suggest a different musical line for the third line?
Can you slow it down, like star, suddenly like slow, star or something?
Yeah. Well, you could sing the star that glowed, but then you would want to have some kind of reason in the song for wanting to slow it down that way. Star that glowed, the star that glowed. I want everyone to take a run at just like singing those words in a little melody. Keiko, sing me a melody for those words.
Star to grow.
It's a good one.
The star that glowed. Is that what you sang?
Yeah, star to grow.
Okay, Jane.
Well, I'd like there to be a rest at the beginning of that bar again.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
The star that glowed. My melody, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Well, make it up.
On a long road, a star that glowed. Yeah, I like Keiko. Bring it up more.
Star that glowed.
Yeah.
Okay. Jamie, what do you think?
Maybe it goes, you're on the long road, searching, not finding, The stars that glow. I think that's the line. The star, yeah.
Okay, but we're gonna stay in the same key we were in. So that would be
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the stars that glowed, like that.
Yeah, I guess.
And Baruch, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it because like you're walking on the road and you stop and look at the stars, so it could kind of have a different feeling because you're kind of
So sing it.
the star that glows.
Okay, so that would be like the star that glowed.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting.
I like what you just did. The
The
star
star that glowed. Yes.
star that glowed.
You're on a long road, searching. Sorry. Yes. Searching, not finding. Oh, no, we changed that note to not finding the star that glowed. Jane, you wanted to rest at the beginning of that bar, so let's while we're at it, let's put in the word the star that glowed, and then we have hiding from view, and here we come to. All right, so here's what happened, and this is where we need to talk about melody a little more. We're coming to a place that is called a cadence, where we either end the verse at the end of this line, or we create a halfway point. So let me give you an example of two different ways that can work. So we have ba-da ba-da-da, ba-da-do-do-do, da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. And that would be, harmonically speaking, blending, ending up in a 5-chord. And then you do the second half of the verse. Ba-da-da-da-do, ba-da-da-da-da, da-dee-da, ba-dee-da, ba-dee-da. Right, so then you have the second ending. And let me play the way that would sound. You're on a long road, searching, not finding the star that glows. Right? So you get halfway through and you end up on this chord. Then you get to the end of the verse and you end up back here. And so let's look at how that harmony works there and why I chose those notes that I did, or the chords that I did. So for example, I know that this D here is going to suggest that it's going to be, or sorry, it's not a D, it's a G. It's going to suggest a minor chord because I've got this B flat. So the scale that I'm suggesting to myself sounds like this. Whoops, except I don't want to actually write those down. Right, which is a minor scale. If it was major, it would sound like this. And wouldn't have that B flat. But then, it wouldn't sound so serious, like, you're on a long road. Sounds kind of. So if it's a G and it's a minor scale, I'm going to assume that it's a minor chord. So we're going to make that a G minor. And now let's look at this over here. That applies to the first two bars. And these notes actually spell literally a B flat, D, and F. They spell a B flat chord. So let's make it a B flat. So we have that's the B chord. And the C and the F could be a part of an F chord. But they could also be like part of a D minor 7. I'm going to choose a D minor chord because I like that to be a 5. Not an S chord. There is no S chord. The star that glowed feels to me like more like a B flat chord. Maybe a G minor. Let's see if the star. Okay, so let's see what that sounds like. So here's the G minor chord. Here's the B flat chord. Here's the D minor chord. You're on a long road, searching, not finding. And then the star that glows. tend to want to make that go to the B flat. Or the star that goes.
Or could it be a diminished?
Well, there's not really much to justify that in the melody. Like, what diminished chord?
Okay.
Here's a.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the star that glows. Tell me which you like better, or the star that glows, or the star that glows. The star that glows. Oh.
That's nice.
An F. Let's make that an F. And we're going to talk about that for a little while. And I'm just going to quickly go back over the notes that you find in a scale, or the chords that you find in a scale. And now that gets us to hiding from view. If we want to go to the halfway cadence, we're probably going to want to end on a D minor chord. So it's going to be hiding from view, unless somebody can think of a more interesting rhythm for hiding from view. Searching, not finding, and hiding from view almost have the same rhythm. So the second line and the fourth line would tend to have the same rhythm. That makes sense to me. Hiding from view. So there you go. You have the beginning of a song. Let's just play that there. You're on a long road, searching, not finding the car that goes, hiding from view. And that's going to lead you right back to the G minor chord. Now we're going to start writing a different song in a completely different way. What I'd like to do this time is start with 3 notes. Oh, actually, before I do that, I just wanted to go back over the chords that you find in any given key. All right. We talked about keys and harmony and all that jazz. And another thing, and I have a workbook about it, which I will post in the chat. So we were talking about scales. So here's a scale, for example. And that's a C major scale. Actually, I should be sharing something that allows you to see that. Right, so those are all the white notes, right? And the key we were writing in is which is a G minor scale, but it's not just any G minor scale, because there are different flavors and varieties of G minor scale, but we'll settle for this. So this is G with a B flat. Now, if we play the chords in that, that's going to be the G, B flat, and D is the 1 chord in the key of G minor. And then we go up 1 note. And that gives us the 2 chord on the 2nd note of G minor. And here's the 3 chord, which happens to be a major chord. Fascinating. The 4 chord is also major. And the 5 chord is minor. And the 6th chord is yuck, diminished. And the 7th chord is major. What a weird scale. Right. So that means if we want the G minor chord is going to be the 1 chord, and then if we play a B flat chord, it's 3. And there's the D minor chord that we used, and then there's the F chord. And these are all. So it's kind of magical in the sense that when you choose a scale, the scale chooses your chords for you. And so it automatically gives you a vocabulary of harmony. The interesting thing I would assume for the rest of the song, for example, I'm going to choose all of this, and then I'm going to select just the chords. What I would assume is that the second half of this verse is going to look very much like the first verse, but it's going to have some different notes at the end. Now, right now, we're going to abandon this fine, wonderful song that we've started writing and start with a different song. I'd like anyone to throw out 3 notes at me.
C, E flat, G.
C, E flat, G. All right, thank you. All right, we're going to write a melody starting with that. The next thing you apply to it is a rhythm. So here are our choices. We have, no, sorry, or, do they have to be in that order, Jane?
No.
Okay. Oh, look, there's a melody. We just repeated it 3 times and 3-4 time signature here somewhere. Let's say there. Can anybody tell me where they thought the strong beat of these 3 notes is? Stop it, I don't want to write them down.
The third one.
The third one, I agree. Let's make this a rest for the first beat. Okay, and now how long do we want this to be before we repeat it? Like la la la, la la la, la la la, la la. And we have the same music 3 times, so we're just going to repeat it. On the third time it's different, because this is followed by this. Right. So here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 1. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. How does this melody sound to you? What does it remind you of?
It's almost mystical or eerie, kind of like dark, like a Hitchcock.
Dark, eerie, mystical. Any other words of description out there?
Longing.
Longing. That's nice. I guess it's the minor key and also the waltz time. Yeah, it's because it's in 3. So you'd almost expect to hear something like. Right. Oh, let me play it on the guitar. La la la, la la la, la la la, la. Sounds very much like almost like a Jewish wedding song or something.
Balkan music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find this rhythm a little static, like la la la, la la la? Maybe we could tart it up a little bit by making these into 2 8th notes, and that would make it sound like this. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la. Okay, so now we know what kind of a song it is. Now we have to think of suitable words. This is the whole thing of imagining the genre, right? We've located ourselves musically in a particular era, and now let's think of are there other songs that we know that would sort of remind us?
Those were the days.
I'll be danced on the night we were friends. We danced and we danced, 'cause the room has no bed. No, that's not the actual song.
Yeah. It's a Russian revolutionary song.
Yes, I want somebody to come up with a first line for this that's going to be appropriate to the mood and the genre, and it's going to consist of 3 syllables. I'm going to challenge Jamie to take this one on.
I mean, we have to like focus on the feeling and also how we connect the words to the feeling. If I cry, or
Yeah.
If I cry, beautiful. If I cry.
When I cry, or if I cry.
Or when I cry, it's even better.
Do you like When I Cry? Okay.
Yeah.
Now here's an interesting phenomenon, right? We have the same musical phrase repeated, which would tend in according to some people, suggests that the second line would rhyme with the first,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to. Like it could be when I cry, you go by, or but you know, it could be when I cry in your arms, or when I cry, I recall.
You decide.
When I cry, you decide. When I cry, you decide to ignore my tears.
That's sad.
We're all laughing.
Perfect for Valentine's
Right.
Day.
It's not a Valentine's song.
Thanks, Cyril.
I can see the continuation. You're a jerk.
Go away.
Away.
That's method number 2. When I cry, you decide to ignore my tears. So there were 2 chords in that. There was C minor, because that's what Jane spelled at the beginning. C, E flat, and G. In this particular case, we would find the G chord as the 5 of the C minor scale. Okay, so that's method number 2. Method number 3. We're going to start from harmony. So I want somebody to, when I was talking about the chord, the sequences of chords before, I was talking about such and such as the 1 chord, such and such as the 2 chord, and so on, right? I want you to choose a key and then throw me out 3 numbers between 1 and 7. Okay, so we want the key of
B flat.
B flat or E flat, did you say?
B flat.
Major or minor?
Major.
B flat major. Okay, I'm going to play that. Can you hear it? I can just barely hear it. And now give me 3 numbers between 1 and 7.
1, 4, 3.
1, 4, and 3. Okay. So in the key of B flat, here's a 1 chord. And the 4 chord. Okay. Right. So first of all, I don't necessarily want to play these in root position. That's like B flat, D, F, and then E flat, G, B flat, and then D, F, and A, when I could actually move one of them around, like so this is the D minor chord, D, F, A, but so's this, and so's this, because you can play those chords in any order, even, or, right? As long as you have those 3 notes, it's that chord, which is fantastic. Okay, so let's say I want to find a voicing for this, which is as close as possible to that. And it turns out that the closest one is that. So we had this chord, which is the 1 chord, and then instead of this, I'm going to play that. And then, so now I have two. And that's our sequence. I want to give you an alternate rhythm to think about, as in or that rhythm, by the way, implies a completely different feel, and thus a different subject matter, and thus different lyrics, right? So we've already leapt into the next method of writing a song, which is with rhythms, because the rhythms affect everything as well, almost more than anything else. Each of these things is like a little ray that influences everything else, right? They all kind of interpenetrate and they have this effect on one another. And sometimes if you can contradict one of the effects that you would expect, you can come up with something quite unusual. I think that somebody like, I don't know how many of you have heard of Tom Lehrer. He wrote amusing songs and sometimes horrifying amusing songs. Then he would deliberately play with genres like I remember the night I held you so tight as we danced with the Wiener Schnitzel waltz. The music was setting the German music, no, the setting music setting was German, the music was Viennese. Your hair was in I was blind to your obvious faults as we danced around the scene with the anyway. Set up the Wiener Schnitzel waltz sets it up as this kind of German type oompa song, but which he proceeds to take the mickey out of. Okay, so we had was there a sequence that or a rhythm that people like better than others? Or how many votes for the first one? Hands up.
Yay.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, 4. That's definitely the majority. Okay. All right. So that rhythm is kind of what I think of as a little bit of a doo-wop. Do cha do 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 do. So give me some doo-wop words. Make up a doo-wop word for me. I want an absolute one single absolutely typical doo-wop word.
Walking.
Walking. Our melody is going to be walking down the street.
Trying to take distance. Trying to avoid the joggers.
It's got to rhyme, Jane. It's got to rhyme.
Okay.
Okay, but all right. So walking down the street is cliche, right? But let's say something else. We're not going to walk down the street. Where are we walking?
Walking happily.
We're walking happily. Well, wait a minute. You guys keep telling me all the answers. I want to hear from Annalie.
I'm thinking. I have no idea.
Okay, walking. I don't know where. Thank you. That'll do. Okay, so first of all, we're going to put those chords in. And now we're in 4/4. We're going to set this up like this. So let's just make the melody. So how that's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Walking, 3, 4, 1. I don't know where to, right? First note is 8th note. And what is that note? And it's very short. Walking, right? Walking, 2, 3, 4. So that should be quarter note rest. An 8th note rest. 8th note, thank you. Don't know where. Over that, we had E flat. There was the 4 chord, right? E flat and the 3 chord. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to throw in the F chord after that, because combinations of 4 chords are more typical. So that's going to sound like this. Which is kind of nice, actually. That's more or less a little bit of a survey of like how to begin a song, how to get it come out of nowhere. And in the process, you find out something about yourself. And that's, to me, the greatest joy of all, because songs are ultimately our teachers. And I want to thank you guys all so much, and thank Keiko for creating this opportunity for me to share a little bit of what I know with you guys.
Thank you.
We're so grateful.
Yes, thank you.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks, Earl.
Thank you, Earl. Thanks,
All right.
It was
Kiko.
a wonderful journey. Yeah.
Thank you.
Talk to you all. All right. So go off and create, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're on
On
the
a
long
long
road,
road,
searching and finding the scarlet glow. I'm from you, walking. I don't know where.